Horns Up Talking Texas podcast. Basketball season. Good.
It's great.
It's great.
No.
It's great.
It's great. I think we're good. You know, we suffered a tough loss in Lubbock. That's always a tough place to play.
It is. They're underwhelming this year, record-wise. They're a better team.
Well, you know, we're talking about the Big 12 gauntlet. Any of the teams in the Big 12, if they're in other conferences, they're having a way better record and they're probably ranked.
Facts.
Like literally almost every team in our conference. Like even OU, who was at the bottom of our conference, still took down Bama.
Who, up until their loss to Tennessee, was the top team in the SEC. Undefeated in the SEC.
Exactly. So, look, anyone can hang here. But there's a target on our back this season. You know, we're one of the best teams, and we're Texas. It's always like that.
Mm-hmm.
We suffered the coaching, dismissal. You know, charges just got dropped today. So maybe it was a little premature on the firing, but, that's neither here nor there. What's in the past is in the past. It's a tough place to play in Lubbock, always. They're a good team. O'Bannon, we've been talking about him for the last 2 years. He just torches us.
Yeah. What's very concerning to me, and I don't think it'll be concerning, it could be concerning for the Big 12 championship, we're going dancing.
Sure.
At the very worst, if things take an absolute turn through
3 seed.
disaster, it'll be a 4 or 5 seed.
I doubt we
that's going to
drop
happen.
that far. I think the lowest seed we get is a 3.
Yes. There'll be a 2 or 3 seed. I don't think we're going to be a 1 seed. I think
Could.
To me, it'll probably be Houston,
Kansas,
Purdue,
okay,
and some combination
maybe
of Bama,
Tennessee.
Bama or Tennessee.
Okay,
exactly.
I'm cool with the 2.
Great with the 2. It's fine with the 2. The way in which, obviously, a team like Purdue, we did beat Gonzaga though. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the kickers. Like we go to the teams I want to point to that are a bit bigger sized. Like we hung with Timmy in Gonzaga. We wiped the floor with them.
We hung with Illinois, who's bigger in size too. Obviously, they beat us in overtime, and they had to come back to beat us. But
yeah, I mean, we hung with. Size is just like.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm done making an excuse for almost.
Well, yeah. So I think when we look at the game, right, or at least when we look at it on paper too, like we don't have a ton of size, and that's always been a knock of ours. But as you're saying, we're figuring out ways to maneuver around that, and I think a lot of that is just the field goal percentage, right? Like all of our guys can shoot from mid-range. All of our guys can knock down threes. That wasn't really a thing in years past. We had a couple of guys who can shoot 3-pointers, and that was it, right? Andrew Jones, and Coleman. Like those were only 2 guys for sometimes that.
Yeah, but they're not
threes.
as knocked down as Marcus or Serge Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka is like automatic if he's wide open, right?
He's probably our best player.
Even Tyrese Hunter can hit threes. I've seen Dessou hit threes. Brock Cunningham hitting like 40% of his
coming
his
back
three
for
throws.
his 6th year.
Yeah, right.
I'm never leaving. He's like the Wolf of Wall Street guy.
I get older, they stay the same age.
Brock Cunningham. Oh man, you must really love the NIL, honestly. Yeah, I mean he hits Bishop's, solid. Dessou has been better.
Yeah.
And then Timmy Allen, obviously. I don't know if he's our best player, but he's our core. Like he's our core guy.
He's our core guy, I think. He's the guy that you want the ball in his hands when it's coming down to chop time, game time, like the last 2 minutes, and it's coming down to the wire. Really, for me, and one of the things that I think we need to improve on, it's an individual, is how we use Dylan Mitchell, because look, we've said it for the last 3, 4, 5 months. We're waiting for him to explode. He's a 5-star recruit, guy who was supposed to be a lottery pick. He's losing draft stock as the days go on. Figure out a way to implement him more in our offense and let him progress.
I think for me, looking at it, what do you need?
Or is he just a bust?
I don't think he's a bust. I just don't know if he's the right fit for what you need to win in college basketball. If you're looking at the formula you really need to win, can you hit from 3?
Mm-hmm.
Can you play a good D? So basically,
can you get rebounds?
Yeah. Can your guards scorch? Do you have guards that can get really hot and score the basketball? If that's the case,
yes, we do.
We do. Great. So our focal point of our offense is it can't be Dylan Mitchell. It's Carr. It's Serge Ibaka-Rice. It's Timmy Allen. He's automatically a fifth or sixth option on our offense. Would I love to see him, really challenge and really fight, which in some games he does, Dessou and Bishop for minutes, yeah. I would love to see him beat a 6 to 8 rebound guy per game. We need that. His balance is insane, undeniable. Toss has brought up the point of like the court being too small and like the spacing being too small for him, which I can't argue. I think he needs to kind of like, spread his wings and fly. He's a more talented player and a more talented athlete than a guy like Greg Brown was. I do think Greg Brown was a bit more reliable from the corner three pocket,
sure,
which was a bit nicer to have.
But also, I think our team wasn't as talented as it was with Greg Brown, so you had to rely on him more.
Yeah, they're shoe on the other foot, exactly. So this is a more talented team. I look at it and I go, okay, who are the top teams in defense? Who are the top teams in 3-point percentage? And what teams really are married and like fit the realm? Like who's mirroring each other? Who's the top 25 in threes, top 25 in defense? It's like St. Mary's, Virginia, like Gonzaga, not really in defense, but in 3-point percentage.
Yeah, but all teams that are going to be tournament teams who get
St.
high
Mary's
seeds,
and Virginia are interesting.
They're locked.
Yeah, they're an interesting pick. They're locked for sure. They're interesting picks to win. But to me, that shows this year you bring up OU beating Bama. Then I bring up Bama being undefeated. Then they lose to Tennessee, who beat us, who had Tennessee Rick Barnes come to the Moody Center. I don't know if they necessarily beat us. The only thing and the Dylan Mitchell and the Arteria Morris thing, and Morris may be a year away, and Mitchell may be a bit too raw for a team that's a veteran team like us,
right?
It's a freight train going. We're trying to win this thing.
I mean, maybe like Dylan Mitchell's better suited to go off and play for a team where he's the only guy on the team, like Ben Simmons did when he was at LSU.
Great, like maybe he's better suited to go play at a Wisconsin or something like that, like a team that's not really vying for a championship, where he has room to grow, develop his skills. Like we can't, and as much as I would love for him to kind of catch up on his own, his development process and his level of improvement, it may not be at the acceleration speed as we need it to be, as this team is, again, vying not only for a Big 12 championship, to win the whole dance. This is realistically the whole point of bringing up that, the top teams in defense and the top teams in three and seeing which match up. There's not that many that do, which shows to me this is a really wide open year. Like Baylor, Houston, Purdue, but again, like I have no problem throwing us into the mix of those teams. I think we can hang with those teams.
Sure.
And I don't think we need Dylan Mitchell to hang with those teams with the way he is right now. So does it benefit us to get him into the mix and try to grow him? I mean, it'd be nice if we think that we can do it fast enough so come tournament time it really makes a difference. But at a certain point, you got to be like, all right, dude, when you get in, do the best you can, but you're really not as big of a piece to this team winning the whole thing as we want you to be or you can be.
I'm just saying that he could be an X factor if he really improved his game.
I mean, the real X factor is, can we stop teams in the first half? Like they put Tech put 44 points on us in the first half.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous how bad we play in the first half and how good we play in the second half.
Great adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a good odds on the second half live line for the Horns, then you should take it every single time, because we're always beating teams in the second half.
We just come out and
come out flat.
It's careless. It's like think about the end of the end of the first half, they hit that shot, they go on that scoring run. Like we were in it with them in the first half, and then we kind of got lackadaisical and like ease into the second half, and then we come out adjusting, guns blazing.
Yep.
And come tournament time, there's no okay, we went to Lubbock, well, okay, whoever we play next, OK State or whatever, we have them at home and we'll rebound. You lose in the tournament, you're done.
Yeah.
And so you really have to play a complete game in March Madness. So I'm not worried about the first or second round. But come the Sweet 16 and come the Elite 8, when you go and match up against these teams that could be the Miamis of the world, right, who are dangerous. You match up against, I don't know, like you do see Baylor, you see Houston, you see a Kansas, you see a UCLA, like somehow. Like these are teams that are really dangerous. Arizona, that'll make you pay offensively.
You see even like a Syracuse.
Syracuse, a team, again, Boeheim, who's been there more times and years than we've been alive. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to play two complete halves. Texas football, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Texas football. 2024,
Making the move, baby.
next season.
It's official. This is the victory lap. This is the last
Doesn't matter.
chance to win the Big 12 in football. So
And look, nothing changes whether it's 24 or 25.
no.
We've started to recruit on size. We've started to implement size.
Dude,
on our
honestly,
team, and that's
anything.
it.
If anything, I think nothing changes, but it's honestly a benefit for us because you don't have to be looking over your shoulder. You don't have to be looking ahead. Like exactly definitively when you're leaving. This is the last year to play football in the Big 12. The target is literally on your back in this conference for one more season. That's it. This is it.
It's on your back for a new conference because you're fresh meat.
Sure, that, but also look, as much as the target's on our back, target's on the opposing team's back too, because it's the last chance we're going to be playing Kansas State, in the Big 12. It's the last chance we're playing against TCU in the Big 12. This is the last time to give these guys a good smack in the face.
Sark he'll get a shot unless it's a disaster in the SEC. If he has a weak showing in the Big 12 this upcoming season, and this is our swan song, I can't take him.
Or Ron Swanson.
I don't think guys like Arch, I don't think some of these recruits are contingent on. I think that a lot of the recruits are contingent on Arch.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't think they're contingent on Sark and some of the other,
Sark has done a great job
saying
in
he's
terms
not.
of recruiting, right? But you're right. I don't think guys are like, oh man, Sark's not with us anymore. I think we're gonna bail. No. Anthony Hill, Jonte Cook, Cedric Baxter, these guys
are Longhorns.
They're Longhorns, and they embodied the brand, and they recruited other guys to come here. I mean, Anthony was one of the guys that got recruited to come here by Arch and by Jonte. They want to keep that foundation together.
I just don't look at any. We don't play West Virginia. We don't play OK. You don't play OK State, a team that beat you last year. You get BYU and Houston, two teams you should beat. You should beat Kansas State. TCU was lightning in a bottle.
Yeah,
in a game that was close.
Yeah, I mean their Heisman or contending quarterback is not there anymore.
Outside of Bama, and to me, everything. I look at the TCU team. I go, they did it. If TCU did it, why can't we? And if there was ever a year for us to do it and get the perfect, level of momentum going into the SEC, we're going to be catching an Alabama team that's retooling as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to go to Tuscaloosa, but they're retooling more so than they ever have. So to me, this is the best year. I'm glad it accelerated a year ahead.
Sure.
Not 2025. This is the best year to have our swan song because this is our best shot to go out on top I've seen since probably Mac Brown left.
Right. Well, I think that partially, as we're talking about right now, the Sark timeline too, right? So let's just say he's not successful. Let's say this year, there's a slight improvement, but you're still not winning the Big 12. You're still not getting a good bowl game, right? And then he's got one more shot, right? Because that's 4 solid years at the program. And you go to the SEC, then that's that. Opposed to saying, okay, we're going in 2025, okay? Then you got to give him probably 2 years extra on the timeline of his contract, you know what I mean? Because as an adjustment. I think that this is just an opportunity for us to say, okay, we're going to evaluate our coaching staff. If it doesn't go well, then we're only in the SEC for 1 season without our guy. Then we have our guy the next season.
If he can't get to 9 wins in the regular season with our schedule, who we play, our personnel, I can't conceivably be excited to roll into the SEC with him.
No.
Do I have faith that he'll do that? Absolutely. Do I have faith in this team? For sure. Do I think that'll happen? And do I think this is just, worries? Yep. Yes.
Yep.
But throwing it out there. That's my opinion.
Throw it out there.
And throw them up. Horns up, Talking Texas podcast. We'll see you guys next time.